everybody, today we are going to be playing One Deck Dungeon, which is like a dungeon crawler but as a board game. It's a nice little rulebook. Deceptively so, because the writing is really small, so they cram a lot of writing into this little booklet. So it did take me a good 40 minutes to read it. I then fell asleep and had a nap. So first of all, one of the things I really like about this game is how small it is. Now, when we went up to the Games Expo and we saw the new button box that they've got for Gloomhaven, and I believe, I didn't get a chance to go and see it directly myself, but I believe it is a scaled down version of the actual Gloomhaven box. So you have everything you need in this it's about this size, teeny tiny little box. It's very impressive that they've managed to fit everything in. In a similar way, this box, when I first saw it, I was very surprised as I was pulling the components out and they just kept coming and coming and coming, and it fits a lot into this one small box. One Deck Dungeon is one of... We're playing the Forest of Shadows games. That is the One Deck Dungeon kind of base game. And you can do a really cool hybrid deck with the two boxes if you have them both. So there are some different, like for example, the Poison reference sheet, which we'll go over later, has a hybrid version if you're playing the hybrid dungeon and mixing the two together. So they've created this second installment, but thought about how people who already own the One Deck Dungeon can incorporate it into their shelves, which I think is a really nice way to do it. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk through the components, have a little look at the setup, go through the rules, and then we're going to do a solo playthrough. There are lots of dice in this game, which if you like a dice game, this is a perfect little game for you. I know you can't see them at the moment, but let me show you two them. Look at them all. And they're so small as well. They're really tiny little dice, which is what, again, you're so surprised by how much that's in the box, because all the components are so little and adorable. So the aim of One Deck Dungeon is you are trying to get through 3 levels of the dungeon and then fight the big boss. As you get through the 3 levels of the dungeon, you have these mini encounters with smaller monsters. So you have combat encounters and you also face perils. And these will give you loot in the form of an item, a skill, or some experience points to allow you to level up. You need to use the 3 levels of the dungeon to strengthen your character as much as you can, so that when you fight the big boss at the end, you have a chance of winning. If at any point you have used all of the health that your character has, they obviously die. But when I played on Tuesday, we managed to get through the first 3 levels, both games we played. So although we lost health throughout, we were still able to keep going. The actual monster encounters are really manageable as you work through the dungeon. Then we got to the big boss and we were absolutely slaughtered. So I don't feel like we strengthened up enough. But there is a time element to this game, and we'll go through that when we go through the rules. But you get to the end, you get through the deck quite quickly, you get through the floors quite quickly, and although you're focusing on trying to level up, you just run out of time. So be mindful of that when you have these big plans to gather all of your skills, upgrade all the levels, get all of the items, because the game is set against you. So in the box you have your encounter cards, and they have on the back a closed dungeon door, and on the front they have the encounter. So this is the Shadow Stalker, and the Shadow Stalker has, let me show you the different areas. So at the very top here you've got your little XP lanterns. So this card, if I was to use it for experience points, would give me 4 experience points. If I was to use it as an item, I would gain an agility and I would gain health. And at the bottom, it's got the skill that I could gain. They're the 3 loots that I could gain if I beat this card. I could use it for XP, I could use it as an item, or I could use it as a skill. You then have a little bit of character art. You have a special ability that you have to adhere to when attacking this monster. And then you have the combat squares. These are your challenge squares. So this is where basically, imagine you're putting a dice on each of these. I need to put a dice of 4 or above, 4 or above, 5 or above, 6, 4 or above, or 6 onto this card. And each time I lay a dice down successfully, the icon shown then doesn't happen. So the icons are bad. There you lose health, you gain poison, you lose time. So you want to try and get as many of these boxes filled on your card as you can. A couple of these have got green shields on them, so they're like their armour. And these have to be filled in before you can fill in any of the other challenge squares. So I'd have to fill in these 2 first, and then try and cover up my loss of health, gaining poison, loss of health, gaining poison, losing time, gaining poison, losing health. Once you have finished your encounter, as long as you take all the consequences, you beat the enemy. And then you can use it for its loot, either as XP, as a skill, or as an item. There's also a couple of other important symbols to take note of. So you can see up here you've got the cross swords. That means it's a combat encounter. And then you've got a little leaf here, which is important for the resist poison action that I will talk about in a little bit. Yes, so that's what one of our encounter cards look like. The other type of encounter card, just to draw your attention to, is a Peril. So when they have this symbol at the top instead, that means that they are a Peril encounter. As you go through the deck, as you go through each floor, you'll reshuffle them and revisit encounters again. So you don't have a separate deck for each level, like for example in Seven Wonders where you use a different deck for each age, but you will find that you will be more skilled to fight the encounters as you progress through the levels. This is a little dungeon information card. Now, there are different dungeon cards, and if you can just see up here, there is 1 dot on my dungeon card. That shows you its difficulty level. So this is a difficulty level of 1. When we lose, I'm going to remind you of that. There's about 4 or 5 of these cards in the deck, and they progress with like 2 and 3 dots, so that you can continue to challenge yourself as you go through the game. It's also because there is a campaign mode, which is really fun, and there's a little campaign booklet that you can use to keep track of what you've gained on the levels. You can carry over equipment, carry over skills. So then on the card, you've got 3 rows, and these signify the 3 different dungeon levels that you're going to hit before you meet your big baddie. As you set up your game, you put the rules reference, the turn reference, over the card like that, so that you can only see the level you are on. So for the very first level, the very first floor, the things I have to take note of is this special ability that happens. And then for all Peril encounters, I also have to consider this 4 dice square. And because it's got a shield, I'll have to cover that before I cover any non-shield spaces on my actual encounter card. For any combat encounters, I also have to consider putting a 4 and a 5 over here. And if I don't, I'm going to gain some extra time and some extra poison on my cards. So for the very first floor of this dungeon, we've got the sludge effect. So I'm going to spend time whenever I gain an item as loot. So anytime I finish an encounter and I choose to gain it as an item, I then also have to spend a time as a result. You have a turn reference sheet, which is really helpful just to remind you what you can do in your game. And I really like that they've incorporated the turn reference sheet into the actual setup. So some games don't have a turn order or a turn reference, and I think that can be quite detrimental, especially with more complicated games, because you're having to refer to the rulebook quite a lot and have it open until you're really confident with how it works. And then when you have more than one person around the table, it takes away some of their independence when there isn't a turn reference card. Also on the turn reference, it talks about a potion. It then describes my first potion that I start with. So as in any good dungeon crawler, you find potions as you go. And at the moment, if I use a potion token, I can use it to heal a health or to remove a poison at any time when I use another potion effect, or I can just use it to heal. Potion cubes look like this. And you start the game with 1. So that's going to go here. We have poison tokens. We have health or damage tokens. We have a poison reference sheet, which again is just to help remind you of some extra information in the game. We have our levels. So you have 4 levels that you can work through. And each level you're stronger. You can have more items, you can have more skill. So for my very first level, I can have 1 item equipped. I can have 2 skills I can learn. I gain a potion during my setup. And it tells me I need 6 XP lanterns to upgrade to the next level. You'll also notice it says 1 player on here. One Deck Dungeon is a solo or a 2-player game. And if you play 2-player, everything kind of has a flip side. So that's your 2-player variant. As you collect your XP tokens, so remember when let me take one off. When we looked at our encounter card, you can gain, instead of gaining an item or gaining skill, you can take it as XP. So this would be worth 3 XP, which I would tuck next to my card to show I've gained 3 XP. Once I've got 6 XP, I can level up to the next card, and that will give me more items, more skills I can equip. It also gives me an encounter bonus dice, which we'll talk about when we get to level 2. But you can see I drastically jump up from being able to equip 1 item to be able to equip 3, 2 skills to have 3. So it's really worth investing the time in improving your level. You'll also find that very quickly you've equipped the item and the 2 skills, and you don't have any space for anything else. So if you want to keep upgrading, if you want to keep improving your character ready for that big boss battle at the end, then you need to upgrade your level. You just don't have a choice. Right, so these are your character cards. One thing I really like about it is that it is a gang of powerful women. Just like, yes, let's go kick some monster butt. You have your classic, let me stack them like this so you can see. You've got your classic kind of roles, your warden, your druid, your slayer, your alchemist, your hunter, and then Kaliana, who is just an entity unto herself. There is a 1-player side and there's a 2-player side, and you just flip it. So again, I really like how they've thought about making it work for 1 players and 2 players. You haven't got all these extra components, extra cards to worry about. It all fits into the box really nicely because they have been really efficient with their pieces. This shows you how strong your character is, how many melee dice they can throw, how many agility dice they can throw, how many magic dice they can throw, and how much health they have. There's a space next to your card for as you gain an encounter and you choose to use it for its item, you can slide it next to your card like this to give yourself an extra agility dice in this case. Below your character's picture, you have their hero feat. So something special that they can do for both combat and peril encounters, but the big cross over the skull means you can't use it on a boss battle. So for the druid, she can spend time to roll combat or roll agility, or she can spend 3 time to roll 2 combat or 2 agility. So you can spend time, burn through the deck to give yourself extra dice to roll. She also has a basic skill. So her basic skill is her bird companion, Lilia, who can only be used during these combat encounters. So she can't be used during the perils. And it doesn't cost me anything. So this icon means it doesn't cost me anything. And it means I can swap the values of any 2 of my dice that aren't hero dice. So that black symbol means black hero dice. So as long as they are one of my pink, yellow or blue dice, I can swap their values around. I'll show you another example. So the Slayer, her special ability is the Whirlwind, and she can spend 1 agility dice of any value and increase her combat dice or her magic dice by 2 each. As you kill encounters, you can also gain skills. So just like with gaining the items, you tuck it under like this, and then you have another skill that you can use. So I really like the way that they have used your player board so you can improve without having to have an extra pile for your skills, an extra pile for your items. I mean, if I think about, say, Arc Nova and just how many piles of cards, or Terraforming Mars, how many piles of cards you have going on, the space you need to play that game just it's so sprawling and so excessive. This is really clean, it's really space conservative, and I like that. I think that works really well. It's really easy to stream a game this small, but it's also nice for when you want to take it to places where they don't have a massive table. Let's go through the rules now. So that's all your components. We'll set the table up, then we'll go through the rules, and then we'll get started. And hopefully, TV, by the end of it, you'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So the first thing you need to do is you need to take your deck, give it a good old shuffle, which I already have. So this terrible shuffle I'm doing now doesn't matter because I've already shuffled it. The cards, there are repeats of the same cards, so it's not a pure 44 unique card deck. So there is a chance that all 4 of your doors will have the same monster, but not very likely. I also have my stair card. So when I get to the end of my deck, it'll be time to go down the stairs. So you just put the stairs down, you put your deck on top of them, and that's the floor of your dungeon complete. You pop your dungeon card down with your turn reference just underneath floor 1 so that you're ready to go and you can see what you need. Let's bring up a little bit because we're going to add potions as we go. You have your poison tokens and your health tokens to the side, your reference card. You put your levels in order, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. Have those ready to go. You add 1 potion for setup and you're reminded to do that. That's part of your level 1 card. And then you need to choose which basic potion you want to make the most of. And again, talking about component efficiency, they have 4 different potions on this 1 card for you to choose from. So you don't have to have 4 extra cards in the deck, you just have this 1. So they've really been conservative with how they use their components here. So we can have the rewind potion, which means I can ignore all consequences and discard the encounter card. So that means if I flip an encounter over and I just want to get rid of it, I don't want to take any damage, then I can just ignore the consequences and discard it. It means that I free up a space in my dungeon. I can use the luck one, which says I can choose a value, so say for example 3, and I can re-roll all of the dice that have that value. I could use aid, which allows me to increase 2 of my dice by 1 each. And the antidote, before I roll to resist poison, I automatically succeed instead. I think I might take the antidote. So I'm going to slot this underneath my potion section, like that. So now when I take a potion and I use it, I can choose between either of these potions that I've got down here. And as I gain more equipment, more items throughout the game, I can gain more potions, which I will be able to add along the bottom here. Right. The nice thing about this first one though is that anytime you use a different potion, you get to just automatically heal 1 or move a poison token as part of that. So it's not as valuable if you just use it to do 1 heal, because if you save those potion tokens for other abilities, then you get to at the same time do a heal. Much more efficient, much better use of your time. And the last thing you need to do is pick your character. So the good thing about the 1-player side is that they ensure there is a balance. You have some of each ability, so you can be rolling dice in all situations. On the 2-player side, the Alchemist is a bad example. On the 2-player side, they are often missing some dice. And that's because when you're working with another person, you might not have any magic, but they might have lots of magic. So you balance each other out and have an overall pool which you can use to fight the encounters. So the Slayer has two, she'll be able to roll 2 of these yellow combat dice. Oh yes, there's multicolored dice. 4 of these pink agility dice. 1 blue magic dice. And she can take 5 hearts of damage before she dead. Her heroic feat is that you get to roll any or all of your dice which are stored on the card. Now I can store a black hero dice. So that's what this black star symbol means. So I can store a hero dice here when I complete a combat encounter. You may store up to 2 dice at a time. These are great because they act as any colour, and the colours will be important in a minute when we have a closer look at these encounters. The Slayer's basic ability is that I can spend an agility dice, which, because you can roll 4 agility dice, that's quite, you often have 1 spare. So I can spend that to increase my combat dice, increase my magic dice by 2 each. And I can only use that when I'm doing a combat encounter, which is why they've got this swords crossed symbol on the right. So on your turn, and handy turn reference, you have to start the game by spending time. And to spend time, you have to turn over cards. You might think, well, how is that spending time? How is that a bad thing? But remember, when you get to the bottom of the deck, you have to descend the floor. And if you get down 3 levels, you have to face the big bad. And the quicker you do that, the less chance you have to pick up items, to improve skills, and to improve your level. So you don't want to be rushing through the deck. So I like that they've given time as the mechanic, and actually that is what you're doing. You're losing time because you're going through the deck quicker. I think it's really clever. So every turn starts with spending 2 time. 1, 2. So now I can either explore or I can enter a room. My dungeon is currently empty, so I have to do an explore. And to explore, I draw 4 face down cards. Build my dungeon. You can only ever have up to 4. So if you explore in the future and say you've got 2 cards already on the table, you can only add 2 extra cards. Because we're using the Forest of Shadows game, and Danny, this is where you'll have something that's slightly different to the version you play. Once you have done an explore action, you then have to resist poison. And what that means is you have to resist any poison that you have on your card. So you roll 1 dice and you have to try and get a number higher than the number of poison tokens you have. Well, I don't have any poison tokens, so that's really good because I rolled a 1. Like, nothing happens, I can move on. If you had some poison tokens, you rolled to resist poison and you got a higher number on the dice, you would be able to remove a poison token from one of your heroes. If you lost, however, so you got the same number or a lower number than the number of tokens you've got, you do still get to remove your poison token, but you have to take 2 points of damage. My Slayer only has 5 health. Taking 2 points of damage before you've even done a turn is really damaging. But thankfully, no poison tokens to start. My rest of my turns, I'm going to be using the other main action, which is to enter a room. So, my turn started, I need to spend 2 time. So I've already burnt through 4 cards in the deck just to open a door. So we've got a Gnoll. A Gnoll is a combat encounter. These are really good for my Slayer because remember, once I complete a combat encounter, I get to add a black hero dice onto my card, which I can use later on. My Gnoll has a special ability, which means that when I'm fighting against the Gnoll, I cannot place hero dice on any of these dungeon challenge boxes. That's fine, I don't have any hero dice to place. Actually, a Gnoll's a really good one to fight early on. If I chose to fight this Gnoll, I would need to get a 3 on a yellow dice. So can you see it's in a yellow box? So I need to have a yellow dice to fill that one in. I need to have a 4 and a pink dice. And then because these ones are slightly bigger, I can make up that number by using more than 1 dice. So I can make up to 7 using my yellow dice and up to 8 using my pink dice. I have 2 shields on here, so I have to fill those boxes in first before I can fill in any of the others. The shields are like armour, so I have to break through the armour first. And if I manage to fight him and succeed, I can either take his 2 XP lanterns up here at the top. I can either take his 1 combat dice as an item, or I can take his skill, which is actually a potion. So I'd add it to my potion line, and it means that I get to roll a combat and gain a 3 combat dice. So I'm getting extra dice, and actually that's a really, really strong potion ability. Now, my Slayer has 2 combat dice she can roll and 4 agility dice. 2 yellows, 4 pink. So fighting the Gnoll, which is mainly yellow and pink, I feel like I've got a good chance against. The other thing to remember is because it's a combat encounter, I have to look up here at my dungeon and remember that there are 2 challenge boxes up here as well that I need to fill. These are also yellow. They don't have shields, so I don't have to fill them, but if I don't, I'm going to end up losing time and gaining poison. So let's have a go. For a combat encounter, you can roll all of the dice you have. So I'm going to be rolling 2 of the yellow dice, 4 of the pink, and 1 of the blue. Let's see how this goes. Oh, look at that! I lied to you all. Look at all these 5s and 6s. I have to fill this 3 because it's got a shield on it. So one of these 6s has got to go on there. And exactly the same way with my pink, I need to put one of my pinks on here like this because there's a shield. So I've covered 2 of those challenge boxes. I now can start filling in the rest of them. Options that I have is I can discard my pink to use my basic ability, my basic skill, which says increase a yellow dice and a blue dice by 2 each. But I can't increase them past 6, so it's not going to help me. What I could also do is you're able to, at any time, discard 2 dice and swap them for a black hero dice of the lowest value. But because of the howl effect, I cannot place hero dice on dungeon challenge boxes. So I can't place them up here, but I can place them here. So I could either cover up this 5, so I won't get a poison and I won't lose a time, or I could cover up this 7. Let's swap these 2 for a black 5 because I have to take the lowest dice. I'm going to cover this up. I've got 11 points, which is more than the 7. So I have got 3 spaces I didn't cover. These are the consequences of the combat. So I've got a time and a poison, a time and a heart. So I'm going to lose 3 time. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to gain 1 poison on my character card and 1 damage on my character card. But I have now beat this encounter. So I can either use it to buff up the number of yellow dice I roll by an extra 1, to gain the skill, or to take the 2 experience points. 2 experience points is not really very tempting to me at this stage. Level 1, I can upgrade 1 item and 2 skills, so I'm not feeling a rush to get down to the next level. Although the next level comes with a black combat dice that I can use on every encounter, which is really helpful, it's not enough of a draw for me at this stage. So I'm thinking I'm going to take the skill at the bottom because it's a potion skill, so it doesn't fill up one of my skill spaces. And it allows me to roll an extra yellow dice when it focuses and to gain a yellow 3. So I'm basically getting 2 extra yellows, which on that, if I'd had 2 extra yellows, I could have filled so many more of those challenge boxes up. It can also be used for combat encounters and for peril encounters. So it's really good for using in all of my dungeon doors. So I'm going to keep it for that reason. So I'm going to slide it under here as an extra potion for me to use. When you gain a new potion skill, you gain another potion token. So I now have 2 potions I can use. When you gain, here's another one, a potion, you also can use the cure passive ability, which is to heal a damage or to remove a poison. I am going to heal a damage because when I resist poison, I'm only going to have to try and get more than 1, and then I can take that poison token off anyway. Whereas my opportunities to get rid of damage is fewer. So as long as I don't take too much extra poison, I should be okay. But remember as well, I've got the special antidote, which says before I do a resist poison, I can automatically succeed it. The other thing to remember is because of her passive, if I complete a combat encounter, which I did, I get to place a black dice on here, up to 2, and I can roll those during the heroic phase. And that's my second turn. Now, I am going to do my next turn. So remember, I could explore and put an extra dungeon door here, but there's just no point. There's no point in wasting 2 time to get 1 more door. It's not efficient, it's not going to help me, and it's going to burn through the deck. So my question to you, gang, is number 1, number 2, or number 4? I'm going to spend 2 time to allow me to take my turn, and then we're going to enter a room. Okay, let's go for this one then. Oh, this one's cool. Look, it's a little angry cactus. Hi, buddy. Hi, Spikelon. Do you need a hug? So, Spikelon is a combat encounter. His ability is spikes. So, suffer a poison when you place a 5 on this card. So with these 2 5s down here, I can cover them with a 6 and not take that poison damage. But if I place a 5 down on any of them, because you can remember on my 3 I could place a 5, I'm going to get poisoned. We're going to fight Spikelon. He's got lots of pink and lots of yellows. Now, I am going to use one of my potions for this. Spikelon, his skill is that I'm going to get that extra yellow roll all the time and an extra pink 4, which is fantastic. It's worth burning a potion to achieve that goal. I could also use my heroic feat and I could roll this extra black dice as well. But I do come with a standard 4 pink, 2 yellow, and I'm going to be getting an extra 2 yellow, so I don't think I'm going to burn that heroic dice this time. So I'm not going to use my heroic feat. You have to decide to use your heroic feat early on in the encounter. I'm going to gather all the dice that I need. So I'm going to roll 4 pink. I'm going to roll 2 yellow, 1 blue, and I roll these before I use a potion. So I don't need to use my brawn effect just yet. So let's see what we get. Oh, there we go. Right. 4s, 3s, 2s, and a 1. That's a bit more like it. Now I want to avoid putting 5s down. So having a look, I've got a 3. I haven't got any shields on this, which is fine. I've got a 5, which I could place here. I've got a 4, which I can put down. Everything else is a bit rubbish. So let's see. I can burn a pink to increase. So I can use my whirlwind skill. Burn a pink to increase a combat dice and a magic dice by 2 each. So I can turn those both into 6s. The reason I've done that is so I can cover this 5 up without being punished with the poison effect. Neither of these pinks are going to help me just yet, or probably at all. So I'm looking like I'm going to take a physical damage, I'm going to take a time, and I'm going to take a poison as well. But remember, I can give up 2 of these dice to make them a black hero dice of the lowest value, which wouldn't really help because it would be a 2. The other option I have, though, is I can use one of my potions. So I'm going to spend a potion to use my brawn, where I get to roll another yellow, and I get to gain a 3 yellow as well. So, oh, that's a 1. Fabulous. But because I have used a potion effect, my passive cure kicks in and I can remove the poison token that was on my card. This is going to be really, really important because I'm about to gain a load of bad things because I've done terribly. So none of this is helpful to me. Perfect. One thing I can do is if I bin 2 of these, so I bin my 2 and my 3, and I use the lowest one to make a black. I can make a black 3. Oh, hang on, 2 and a 3. That's not the lowest. If I bin my 3 and my 6, take the lowest, which is the 3, and I can use this hero dice as any colour. So I can cover my pink 3 with it, like that. So I'm left with this uncovered 4, this uncovered 5, a 5 and a 4 up here. Now, this 5 on the card would lose me a health. This 5 up here would lose me a time and a poison. So I think I'm going to cover that 5 up instead. I think it's just a bit more beneficial for me. So I'm going to have to take 2 time, 2 health, and 1 poison damage. So let's take my 2 time. I gain 2 health damage and 1 poison. She's starting to look a little unwell. But because I've just completed a combat encounter, I get another black dice on my card. So I will now be able to roll 2 extra black dice during my go. So the Slayer really stacks when you fight these combat encounters. You may lose a few, but you're gaining those dice. You're gaining yourself extra abilities, extra chance to cover these cards up. I am going to keep the skill. So slots under the card like this. And now I can see I've got another skill that I can use during a combat encounter. Oh! Are you alright? She's on the table. Oh, where are you going? It's fine. There's not many components. You can see her little paw. Hi, Bowie. Hello. So my new turn, I'm going to spend 2 time. Now, should we do door 1 or door 2? Right, let's go for door number 1. And we have got, oh, look out, guys, it's a giant spider. So the giant spider is another combat encounter. So our skills are good for combat encounters. So it's good that we're getting extra ones of these. But we have got some blue dice spaces on the card, which we haven't had before. We've got 4 yellow and 2 blue. Now, because also the dungeons challenge boxes are both yellow, I'm basically having to have 6 yellow dice to fully cover, have no consequences from these. They have a web ability, which means I spend time for each poison that I have already. So I'd have to spend an extra time just to fight this monster because I have 1 poison. Some cards have 2 item symbols on, so you get 2 extra dice overall. And they're the ones I like to save for because you have very little item space. So it's better to save for when you get 2 extra bonuses. But you can equip something like the giant spider as your item, be rolling an extra pink dice, and then later on when you get a card which has 2, you can swap it. So you can swap that to be your item, and then you can use the giant spider for your XP instead, which is a really helpful way to do it. I think I'm going to flee this one. I don't think I have the dice to beat it. So instead I'm going to choose to flee, and my turn ends there. I'm going to do my next turn. I'm going to spend 2 time, and I'm going to turn over the very last door. I could add more doors, but again, it's more efficient to do it when you've got more spaces. So we have a dire boar. Again, 3 XP if I was to beat it. Gives me an agility dice, very similar to the spider. Its ability is charge, so dice may not be re-rolled or increased. So my whirlwind, which allows me to increase a yellow and a blue dice by 2 each, that would be redundant in this. But it looks quite beatable, especially as it uses 3 pink dice as well. It makes much more use of what I currently have. Its skill is I have to spend a total of 3 magic I can do that with 1 dice or with 2. So as long as I spend blue dice that have up to or above 3, I can then roll another blue dice and increase that by 2. So that's really good for when you're rolling low blues and you want to do a bit extra. It can also be used on a combat and a peril encounter, which is good. Okay, so I've got 4 pink, 2 yellow and a blue. I have to decide to use my heroic feat first, and I will do that. I'm going to use my 2 extra heroic dice as well in this. Then it's my gather and roll. Let's see what we get. I'm starting to feel like a proper little dice goblin now. Look at all the dice. Ooh, that was really good. 2 black 6s, a pink 6, a pink 5, a pink 4. Happy, happy days. Right, okay, so let's start by laying things down, and then I can decide if I'm going to use any of my skills. I need to do the ones with the shields before I lay anything else down. The problem I have is I have a 3 yellow and a 2 yellow, and it's a 4 yellow. If that had been if it had been a 4 pink and a 3 yellow, I have those things. But no, it's a 3 pink and a 4 yellow. So I can't increase dice. So my option is to use my black or to use my finesse skill. So I'm going to give up this 2 pink to roll a yellow and also to gain a 4 pink. So let's roll my yellow. I'm going to roll it on the table so I don't knock any of my dice. A 5. Oh, thank goodness for that. So, oh, knocking everything. I'm going to put the 5 yellow on this 4 so I can actually place on other spaces. I'm going to put the 4 pink on the 3 pink space. I've got a 5 and a 6. So I'm going to get all this covered up. I've covered all the pinks. I've got a 3. And I'm left with 2 black 6s, a pink 4, a yellow and a blue. Now, I can't re-roll, remember. I can exchange 2 coloured dice for a black hero dice of the lowest number of those 2 dice. It's going to be a 2, which isn't going to help me. So I'm going to be left with a space, but if I cover this 6 and this 5, the only consequence I'm taking for my actions is 1 time. That was a really good encounter. So I now gain my dire boar. His ability to take magic and allow you to roll an extra magic dice and increase that dice by 2 is really good, but bear in mind my Slayer only rolls 1 magic dice at a time, so I'm not likely to want to use that very often. So I'm going to do what I was planning on for the spider. I'm going to equip it as an item, and then later on when I get a better item, which has got 2 symbols on it, I'm going to swap it for some XP. So I take my Slayer board and I slot my item next to the board like this in my item space, and now I'm rolling 5 pink dice instead of 4. Now I mustn't forget my sludge consequence. So I'm fighting the Mudlands, and on floor 1 I spend time whenever I gain an item that I loot. So I need to spend another time getting through that deck pretty quickly now. But I have 1 skill and 1 item. It's time to do another explore, I think. So I'm going to spend 2 time and then fill up my gaps. Remember, you fill up to 4. You don't get 4 every time. And then I have to resist poison. I have 1 poison token on my character. I'm not going to waste my potion to succeed the resist poison because I only have to roll more than a 1. Please. Yes, that's a 4. Fab. So because I've passed my resist poison, I remove a poison token. It's my only poison token, and I'm now poison free. She's feeling much better. Okay, let's turn a card over. Should we turn over 2, 3, or 4? Let's go with lucky number 3. Oh, the Shadow Stalker. So here, can you see how it's got 2 symbols if I was to gain it as a skill? So it's going to benefit me twice. And actually it's a magic dice, which I don't have enough magic dice yet. So I'm probably going to equip this as an item and then put my item as XP. So its ability is a dark aura, and I have to spend time for every 6 that I roll. So this could be a lot. So I'm going to need... Oh, and I passed a combat encounter, so I need to remember to put a dice back on my hero feat. I'm going to use my hero feat dice, so I'm going to put that back in my pile. So I am rolling now... Let's move this up here. I'm going to roll 5 pink dice now because of my improved item. 2 yellow, 1 blue, my black heroic dice. Lots of pink ones. Good thing there's only 1 pink on here. I've got a 6 black, a 6 yellow, and a 6 pink. That's really good. So let's pop these on. I've got 2 blue shields to bear in mind though. So I have to use my 6 for that. But then I've got a 3 blue, which I can't cover with it either. Oh, and remember, I have to spend time for every 6 I rolled. So I've just rolled 3 6s. I'm going to spend 3 time. Oh, and totally mess up my pile. There we go. So I need to do something very unfortunate here. Right, let's start with my potion. So I'm going to spend my potion to roll an extra yellow. I get a 5. And I also gain a 3 yellow. Because I have used a potion, I also get to use the Cure's passive, which is to heal. So I've only got 1 damage on me now. Another thing I can do is I can bin one of these red cards, so I can use my skill Whirlwind to increase a yellow and a blue by 2. So now I have a blue 5 and a black 6, so I can cover these 2 shields. The other thing I was thinking of doing is I could... First of all, 4 is enough. So I'm going to bin this, I'm going to bin one of my ones, my 5 ones. I am going to roll another yellow. So this is for my finesse ability. That's a 3. And I get to gain a pink 4. You can get a little bit of an engine going in this, in the sense that you can give up a dice to gain a dice and another dice, and then give up one of those dice to do another ability. You can kind of stack your skills a little, so you have a bit of an engine going. But I wouldn't call this strictly an engine builder. So the reason I wanted to get all this extra dice power going on, I only need a pink 6. I don't need any other 6s, any other pinks. I can't use them anywhere. So if I get rid of a pink 5 and a pink 4 and swap them for a black hero dice, I'll get a black 4. So the hero dice, I wouldn't usually give up a 5 and a 4. They're really high numbers, but I don't need them for anything else. So if I swap them for a blue 4, a black 4, I can use this to cover a shield, the blue 5 to cover a shield, and now I've covered all the shields, I can start filling everything else. So I can put the 6 yellow there. I've got 2 5 yellows. So I'll cover this and this one up here. So I'm going to end up losing a time, but that's fine. I've got either I can place my 6 pink here and my final black on this blue spot. So I have got to spend a time as my consequence, but I have then passed the encounter. And because it's a combat encounter, I get a black dice back onto my heroic feat. So I'm going to use this card for its item because it gives me an extra health and an extra blue magic dice. And I'm only rolling 1 magic dice a turn, which is not very much at all. I can only have 1 item equipped. because I'm only on level 1. So I'm going to have to replace this card, replace my dire ball that I had equipped for the extra agility dice. When you swap out an item for an item or a skill for a skill, you can then use the card you've just used as XP instead. And this has got 3 XP. I think that's really kind of the game. When I read that in the rule, I was surprised. I thought, usually you're punished for filling up an item space early and then replacing it later on. You lose from that. But this game, they're like, no, it's okay. You can swap that for XP later on. I'm like, that's really unusual. So I tuck this on its side underneath the level cards so that I can see I have 3 XP lanterns going on down here, which you can just about see on the corner of the screen. I need 3 more to be able to level up. Okay, so now I have 2 magic dice and I have 6 health that I am playing with. Okay, so let's go for number 2 now. Okay, we have a Peril. So you can tell it's a Peril because the symbol at the top has now changed to what looks a bit like a bear trap, a green bear trap. It might be something else, but that's how it looks to me. There you go. This means it's a Peril. So all of those skills I was using earlier, so my Whirlwind and my Finesse, I can no longer use because they are combat encounter only, and this is a Peril. Their Peril cards are different to encounters. You'll notice there are 2 sections. That's because you have 2 options. I can either choose to clear a path through this bramble field. It will cost me 2 time to do so, but I only need to get 7 on my yellow dice to pass. Or I can run through. I don't have to pay any time, but I need to get 10 on my agility dice. You only have to complete 1. Now I have 2 yellow and 4 pink, so it makes more sense for me to roll for the agility. The other thing to remember is you still have to complete this over here. So I'm going to still have to use one of my dice, that's 4 or more, to cover up this Peril dungeon challenge of 4. So if I had chosen the yellow, I only get 2 yellow dice, and one of them would have had to be burnt to cover that space up. And my other dice can't make yellow by itself, so I have to go for pink. I can consider anything that I might be able to do. I could use my heroic dice, so you can still use your hero dice for encounters like this. I'm going to hope I don't need it. I could regret this, but let's see. So I'm going to roll 4 pink. One of them needs to be a 4 or more, and the other 3 need to total 10 or more, which is more than average. Oh, it doesn't matter when you roll like that. So my pink 5 is going to go on this spot. On the on here on the Peril side, there's no background colour to this square. I can use any dice to cover it. So on this side, they're yellow and blue, so you know you have to use combat or magic. This, I can just use any dice. So I'm going to cover the 4 with a pink 4. And I have to cover that first because it's got the shield symbol. And then my other 3 dice total 12, which is more than the 10 I need. So I pass and I don't take the consequences. If I hadn't had enough, I still would have passed the bramble field, but I would have taken the 1 health and the 3 poison damage that the consequence would give me. So I think I'm going to use it for XP. So I'm now on 5 out of 6 XP. Okay, so I've got to spend 2 time, and then I'm going to enter a room, and we have got another Peril. This one is more specific. You either, if you take the top action, if you try to disarm the rune circle, you have to get 8 on your magic dice, and you have to take the item. That's what the arrow is pointing to. If you remove the crystals, you have to use combat dice, and you get the skill. And the skill is for a encounter or a peril, you get to just gain 1 3 agility dice. That's not a great ability, especially when I already have so much agility dice. So I'm going to use it for its 2 XP to get me down the next level. But do I use my 2 yellow dice or my 2 blue dice? Neither of those is a good option because remember, I have to cover this 4 first. So I'm going to have to use my black hero dice. Let's go for yellow. I don't roll my yellows very often. No, let's go for blue because I only need 8 blue and I need 9 yellow. Oh, okay. Oh, no. Yeah. So good news is I can cover this. Bad news is I have 4. I mean, that was risky. Oh, okay. So I don't have enough to disarm it. So I get the card, but I'm going to take 2 health damage and lose 2 time. Now, I have collected 7 XP lanterns. And I needed 6 XP lanterns to level up. So I'm going to put these back in the box. They don't go back into my discard pile. So it's kind of another way of reducing the amount of time you've got as you go through. You're spending time to level up. You're spending time to improve your skills. These permanently go from the game. And then I can slide to my next level. So level 2, I can have 3 items and I can have 3 skills. I get a potion token, and I also have a black dice that sits on here permanently. So during every one of my encounters, I can take this dice and I can roll it, which is a really good reason to get down to level 2. To get down to level 3, I'm going to need 8 XP, which will give me more item space and more skill space. Doesn't give me any extra encounter bonuses. So there's kind of a rule of, there's a argument for not really leveling up too much in this. You have to use a lot of cards to do a level up. 8 XP is going to be at least 3 cards. But if you fill up all your item spaces and your skill spaces, it's definitely worth it. But no, it's no longer a focus for me. The focus for me now is, I guess, to gain more items and to gain more skills. We have an empty dungeon. We're ignoring the giant spider in the room. See, they talk about elephants in the room, but really it's giant Shelob style spiders. And we are going to go for an explore. We haven't got any poison tokens, so although I'm going to have to resist poison, I don't have to roll anything. Right, spend 2 time. Restock my dungeon. Ooh, it's an upside down door. Oh, this is a creepy guy. Look who I just binned. I'm glad I didn't have to face him, because I'd be seeing him in my nightmares. Little trickster. Run away, children. Run away. Right. So. Resist poison. Oh, good. I rolled more than 0. And now we're going to enter a room. This is going to be the last room really we get to enter, because I've got 1 card left on top of my stairs. And I'll explain what that means in a moment. Let's go for number 4. Ah! I threw it on the ground. Ooh, this one is a big XP and is a double skill. This is a good card to get. And because of that, it's hard to fight. So the Razorbark, terrifying, has an ability that it exiles a black and a yellow dice. So you have a dice pool that you take your dice from every time you roll. If anything gets exiled, it gets permanently put back in the box for that game. That means if you ever had more yellows than were in the dice pool, you just would miss out. You wouldn't get to roll an extra dice. So it's exiling them, it's permanently reducing the dice pool. I'm going to roll. I seem to start with a wound then. So I've decided I'm going to fight it. So let's exile a black and a yellow dice. Then go sit with my little dice over there. I need to take 2 yellow, 4 pink and 2 blue. I don't have, oh, but I do have my black encounter dice, which I can now use for every encounter because I'm level 2. So I'm going to chuck that into the pool as well. That's going to be really helpful. And there's no shields here, so we don't have to fill any challenge box. I can just take all the damage if I want to. It doesn't actually do loads. It does 1 time. All of the boxes have like a single symbol. So it's 1 time, 1 health, 2 poison, apart from the bottom one, which is a health and a poison. And then I mustn't forget my 2 up here. Right. Ooh, we have got blue 6, pink 6, yellow 5, and a black 4, and a blue 4. Okay. The yellows aren't yellows aren't fantastic. Pinks aren't fantastic either. This doesn't feel like I've done very well. Okay. I can use my 2 combat skills though. So one of them is that I can take a pink dice, and I've got 2 pink ones, so I can burn these. Take a pink dice, increase a yellow by 2, which I increase that to 5. That will then be helpful. And a blue. Ooh. That makes 12. Ooh. Interesting. I can then bin another pink to roll a yellow. I got 4. And then gain a pink 4. Now, the really exciting thing is so I need 15 to pass this. Sorry, hay fever. I need 15 to pass this. I have 12 in my blues. If I have 2 spare dice left at the end, apart from this rubbish too, I can make that, I could like have a 4 black, and then I'd have 16. Okay, I might actually be able to pass that. So let's pop these down. We have got a 5 yellow, a 4 yellow, a 5. I think actually no, that's fine. That's not gonna be a problem. I've got a 6 pink, a 4 pink. So I'm then left with 16 here. So I'm not going to take the heart and the poison damage. I'm just going to take 1 time loss. So my 15 is going to be made up like this. So I lose 1 time, I reveal the staircase, and I pass the encounter. And I'm going to use him for his item ability to give me an extra yellow card and an extra health. Now, mustn't forget the sludge. The sludge says that I have to spend a time when I gain an item for loot. And this is where we then need to talk about the staircase. So once you hit the staircase, if you have to spend any more time, you have to put down a damage. So I have to spend a time because I equipped an item. Anytime you have 3 damage on the stairs, you take a damage on your character. And the idea is that you need to try and descend. You can't hang about in the dungeon. And if you're dawdling at the staircase, you are going to be taking damage. At the end of my turn, I can choose to descend. So I'm going to reset the dungeon. We'll finally get away from that giant spider. Shuffle my remaining cards. The 3 cards that went into exile earlier don't come back out again. So my dungeon deck, my time is less for this 2nd level. I cover my staircase back up with my new deck. And the other thing I have to do is slide down to the 2nd level in the dungeon. So now whenever I do a Peril encounter, I have the 4 shield to cover, but I also have a 5 space as well. That will do me damage. And for my combat encounters, as well as my 2 fighting dice, I have a magic shield as well. So I have to cover that each time. And my magic dice is my least common dice. So I could really do with picking up another item that buffs the number of magic dice I have. We are a 1/3 of the way through our dungeon. So I'm going to spend 2 time to explore. Now remember, when I do the explore action, I need to do a resist poison action at the same time. I have no poison, so as long as I roll more than 0, I'm fine. Oh, I rolled a 3. I'm fine. Let's spend 2 time and pick another door. Okay, Mike, do you want to pick a door this time? We've got door 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 4. Okay. We've got a Peril. Ooh, perfect. There's a magic dice, which we need. And it gives us a heart as well. So this is a double. I like ones like this. It could get us 4 XP, which is really handy. But I'm going to be going for this. The skill that I could gain would be to get rid of a agility dice, treat 1 challenge box as if it were any colour. That's also really helpful. But I am going to go for this, I think. So I can either spend 2 time to use my combat dice to try and get 10, or I can use no time to attack with magic and try to get 14. I say that, but I'm also going to need a 4, and I can only roll 3 yellow. That's going to be tricky. So let's spend 2 time to try and climb up the sharp cliffs and see how we do. Trying to get to 10, but I also need at least a 4. Okay, I've got 10. Which is great, but remember, one of these dice has to cover my 4 shield. So I am going to spend my potion to roll an extra yellow, which is a 3. And I gain a 3 yellow as well, which just gets me what I need. Because I've used a potion, I can use the passive on cure and remove a wound as well. So I've got a 5 here that I'll cover this 4 space with, which has got the shield. And then I can use the remaining 11 to go on top of this 10, so I don't take any damage here. I'm still going to take 1 damage and 1 time from not having completed the level 2 dungeon challenge box, but I'll take that. And I'm going to then equip the item, gaining me an extra magic dice and an extra health. I have now got 3 items, so I'm looking pretty full. But Mike, look, I've managed to get 3 sets of doubles. These are the extra items I have gained throughout the game. Because I've equipped an item, I need to spend a time because of sludge. Now we're looking for, I can have 2 extra skills equipped, and then I need to look for 8 experience points. I'm not going to change any of my items now. I'm actually really happy with them. I'm rolling 3 yellow, 4 pink, and 3 blue. I feel that's a really good balance to my dice rolling. So I'm quite happy at the moment with that. I need to spend 2 time, and I can turn over another room. We have got, ooh, a wisp. So this wisp might be a bit out of my league. They're all really low dice, but I only roll 3 blue dice. I guess I do roll 3 yellow and 4 pink, so I could trade 2 of each of those to turn them into a black heroic dice. So I could end up filling, in theory, 5 and 3. But I've also then got 3 on the dungeon. I don't think I've got enough for this. So I am going to flee this room. This is where, when you get to the 3rd floor and you revisit some of these encounters, you're going to have more dice at that stage because you're on a higher level, you've got more items, you've got more dice rolling ability. I just don't feel, I'd have to burn a lot to get that, and I don't think it will be worth how much poison I'm going to gain. Okay, so we're going to leave that one for now. Let's go for room 2. Let's spend 2 more time for my new turn and go for room 2. I can revisit this at any point by again spending my 2 time and having a go. But I don't think I'm going to end up. Not let. Okay. Vine trap. So this is a peril. So I can either spend a time to try and dodge it using agility, which I think is the best one for me because I've got 4 agility dice, or I can try and break through it with my fighting dice. But I need to get a 10 for that. If I succeed, I can either get 2 XP, I can gain it as an item to gain 1 agility dice, or I can gain its skill, which is actually a potion skill. So I roll 2 heroic dice and discard 1 of them. I think if I win this, I'll take it as the potion, because also anytime you gain a potion skill, you get an extra potion token. And I'm out of potion tokens, so I need more. Okay, I'm going to go with pink, so I can only roll pinks and any blacks that I have. And my encounter card, remember, gives me my level card gives me a encounter dice every turn. So I've got 4 pinks and 1 heroic. Ooh. Oh, that's pretty good. So that completes my 7. I do need to spend 1 time to dodge the vines. I'll use that to cover the 4. So I pass the Peril. I'm going to gain this for its potion ability, which gives me another potion token. But I do have to take 1 damage and 1 time as a consequence. I am looking a little bit worse for wear. My character has taken 4 damage, but I have up to 8 health now. So because of those extra items I've added, it has secured my health up a bit. So I'm not too worried. I'm not going to focus on healing anytime soon. I'm going to keep this potion token for later. We've been fighting a lot of perils recently. It'd be good to get an extra skill that I can use on perils, because all my skills so far are only for combat encounters. Right, we're going to spend 2 time. No, I didn't. So I gained a potion token, so I get to use Cure's passive and heal. There we go. It's a good thing you were here. I would have done myself out of a heal. I'm going to flip this last door open, and again we have another peril, and we also have another potion token at the bottom, which again I might take it for that because it'll get me an extra potion token. It gives me another potion ability that I can use at any point, and I'd get to do another passive heal, bringing my health back up, and I'll only have taken 2 damage. So it does have 4 XP on it though, which I'm getting to the point where I might want to upgrade to the next level. Well, let's try and beat it first. So I'm going to do the grab the stone option because I have 4 agility dice and I only have 3 magic dice. I do need to remember about these 2 boxes up here as well. So I need 13 points worth of pink and then a 4 and a 5. It's unlikely that with 4 dice, unlikely / impossible with 4 dice that I can do this. Oh, but I do have my black hero dice as well, so just about possible. Unlikely. Let's see how we do. Okay, I've got a 4, a 4, a 5, a 3 and a 2. The 4 and the 5 will just stick over here, which leaves a 4, a 3 and a 2. That only makes 9. So I'm going to need to keep this 5. So 5, 9, 12, 45, 9, 12, 14, 5. Yes. So I've got 14. I need 13 so I can pass the peril without taking 3 damage, a poison and a time. Instead, I'm just going to take 1 damage and 1 time, which I'm happy with. So I'll take that time. I'll take the damage. I now have to decide if I want to use it for XP or the potion token. I think I'll take it for the potion. Okay, another one of these. Heal. Feeling really healthy now. Right, I'm going to spend 2 time so we can explore. I haven't got any poison tokens, so I don't need to do a poison resist action because I need to roll more than 0, which I have done. Ooh, it's a close one now. And now I'm going to spend another 2 time to open one of these doors. Okay, let's go with lucky number 3. we've got another Peril. Okay, so I can't get this potion again because I've already got it. I've already got the luck potion, so I can use this for some XP. It's a nice easy one. I only need a 10 on my pink dice, so I think I can do that. It's just going to cross over a rickety rope bridge. So I'm going to roll 4 pink dice and my 1 hero dice. 6, a 4, a 4, a 3 and a 1. So my 4 can definitely go over there. I have 10 for the sprinting across the rope bridge. I don't have a 5 that I can use. So I'm going to end up taking a bit of damage. So I'm going to take 1 damage, bringing me up to 4. And then I'm going to take a time as well. We've succeeded the card. So I'm just going to burn this card as 2 XP. I need 8 to level up again. Right. Next turn. I'm currently on 4 health left. So I'm going to spend 2 time. Let's take door number 2. We have another Peril encounter here. So this means it's a Peril encounter rather than a combat. I can either fight it with magic or fight it with agility. So I can either try and contain the poison cloud. I'd have to spend a time to do so. I need to roll 9 on my magic dice. Or I can try and crawl under it. So I don't have to spend any time, but I need 12 dice. 12 on my dice to do it. Now I have 4 pink dice and a black dice that I can roll. Or I can roll 3 blue dice and a black dice. Proportionally, that's the same. Because if I averaged out 3 on each of my pink dice, or 3 on each of my blue dice, and then hopefully got a 4 on my black, then I would succeed. So let's take the pink option. I don't have to spend a time to do it. And I'd have more opportunities to get like 6s and 5s. I might just get all 1s. Oh my goodness, look at that! Beast did it. Okay, well, I can use the black to cover the 4, the 5 to cover the 5, and then I have 15 left. Amazing. No damage taken this time. Right, so I'm going to use my poison cloud. I can either use it for the 3 XP, or I could use it to gain its skill. So this is saying that I can spend 3 magic, and I can either do that with 1 magic card or 2 magic cards, or 1 magic dice or 2 magic dice, as many as I want, as long as the total is 3 or more, to allow me to roll an extra magic dice and increase it by 2. That might actually be helpful. And also it's a peril. It works on perils and combats, which I don't have any skills so far that I can use on peril encounters. So let's tuck that for its skill ability, which means I have now got 2 skills, 3 items. Because of my level card, I can still pick up 1 extra skill. Okay, we're going to spend 2 time. Turn over the last door. It's a rockworm. Now the rockworm is a combat encounter, and it's got an ability called acid spray. So I can place poison on a hero. So when I start the fight, I'm going to gain a poison token no matter what. As I attack it, I'm trying to get lots of yellows. I need loads of yellows. That might make it actually a bad choice. I need lots of yellows and lots of blue. But I have only got 3 yellow dice that I roll, 3 blue dice. I guess I can burn my pinks to get me it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Okay, so I'm going to try this one. I need to gain a poison token. So I'm going to put a poison token on my character. And I'm going to roll my black hero dice. I'm going to roll my 3 combat ones, my 4 agility, and my 3 magic. If you like dice, this is the game for you. It's very much a Dice Goblin's favourite game. Alright. Can't use my heroic feat because I haven't fought an encounter, like a combat encounter, for ages. So I haven't been gaining extra black cards, black dice on my hero feat. So I'm going to roll my dice. Okay. Some good in there. There's also some rubbish in there. Now, I need a 4 blue to cover this shield. First of all, that's regardless. I need to use that. I do have, yes, my very heroic feet. In my very heroic socks, in my very heroic shoes. I can always bin one of these pinks to increase my yellow by 2 and a blue by 2. So I could do that. And I can use one of my pinks as well to roll. I don't need my pinks for anything. So let's burn my 3 to increase one of my yellows and one of my blues by 2. Now the reason I've done this is so this 4 blue goes on the 4. I need 12 blue here, so I didn't really want to waste my 5, be 1 over, and possibly 1 too few on this component of it. My 2 yellows are pretty rubbish. So I'm going to give up another pink to roll an extra yellow. Oh, that's a 5, that's good. And then to gain a pink 4. That's looking a bit better. So I've got a 5. I have to put that on the 5 shield, so that's now covered. So I need a 5 here and then a 12, a 5 and a 4. I need loads of yellows. My blacks can count as any colour. I have got my blue. I'm not going to use my spark ability. And I also have got my potions still, remember. So I can use my potions to like roll extra yellows. So I might do that. Another thing I can do is you can discard 2 cards, 2 coloured dice. So I'm not using my pink for anything. There's no pink challenge box. So I don't need these dice, even though they're good rolls. I can discard these 2 and pick up a black dice of the lowest number. So I can pick up a black 4. So I now have another 4. So I can cover this. Ooh, that's a 4. This space with a 4. Still got a 5, 12 and a 12. So far I have 6 for this. And I have 8 for this. I have a dud 6 pink that I'm not going to use. And I have a spare 4 as well. Now I'm going to use one of my potions to roll an extra yellow and gain a yellow 3. So that's gained me an extra 5 in total. So I've got 6, 9, 11, 12. So I now have 12. Oh, that was a 1. I have 12 on here. So this section's complete. Let's stack them. I now can't see the other side. And I have a 5 yellow, a 5 yellow, and a 12 blue. I've used my potion action, which means that I can activate the passive ability on my cure and remove a poison token from my game. So it looks like we're going to do some suffering now. I only have 10 here for this. I need 12. I'm about to take on so much poison damage. Lovely. Right, okay. It's time for a bit of suffering. So I'm going to lose 1 time from here and a poison. gonna have a health damage from here and 2 poison. I'm gonna gain 2 time losses from here. But I do get the card. Now, I can either take the skill, which I think I might actually. The skill says, for no cost, I can ignore 1 time consequence and 1 poison consequence to have a bit of immunity, which actually might be really helpful because I am taking damage. So let's take this for its skill. I now have 3 skills and 3 items, so I just need to focus on leveling up now. I need an extra 6 XP to level up. Okay, we have got a staircase coming. So for this turn, we are going to draw 2 time. Oh, but we are on the staircase, so I'm going to choose to descend the staircase. Things are going to start getting really scary now, because we have unlocked this entire dungeon now. So if we ever want to do a combat encounter, we have all 4 of these boxes on this right-hand side that we also have to consider. And if we do a peril encounter, we have to also consider these 3 boxes over here. Plus the fact that anytime we decide to equip an item, we have to spend a time. And now, if an encounter's consequence includes poison, you add 2 extra time. So we're going to cycle through this deck. Okay, we've got to spend 2 time to reset the dungeon. Now, I have 3 poison tokens on my character sheet. And when you do an explore action, you have to then resist poison. So I'd have to roll the dice and get 4 or more, which I know is 50-50, but if I fail, I'm going to gain 2 extra damage. I'm already on 5 out of 8 damage. That would put me 1 away from death. So I'm going to use my potion and use the antidote action to, before you roll to resist poison, automatically succeed instead. So I'm going to have a success, which means I lose a poison token. And because I've used a potion, my passive on my cure kicks in and I can get rid of another poison token. So I only have 1 left on my character sheet. That feels a much safer place to be. Okay, spend 2 time. Okay, we have got a peril encounter. We have got a thorn spitter. So I can either try to strike down the thorn spitter. I have to spend the time to do it, and I need 9 on my attack dice. Or I could evade the thorns. Don't have to cost any time, but I would need to get 12 in my agility dice. If I succeed, it actually has quite a good little skill in that I can discard a yellow dice of any value. So I could discard a 1 yellow and replace it instead with a 5 yellow and a 2 agility. I haven't got any space for any more skills though, so I have to weigh up if I think it's better than the ones I already have, and I don't think it is. The other thing I have to bear in mind is I still need to now fill a 4, a 5 and a 6. And I want to avoid any ability that any consequence is going to give me poison, because I'm going to gain time as well, which I don't want to do. I really want to get down to the next level. I want to level up even and pick up at least 1 more item before I fight the big bad. Once I'm with the big bad, I can't do any more upgrades. I can't do any more improving. That is just, yeah. So I'm going to evade. So I need my 4 agility dice, my 1 for encounters, and I'm also going to use my heroic feat and use my extra black dice that I have in storage. Oh, that is awful. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and another 2. If I was playing Yahtzee, that would be fine, but it's not Yahtzee. This is Dungeons. Okay, so apart from crying, what can I do? Oh gosh, there's like nothing. Right. So hang on. Oh, hang on. That's okay. No, it's fine. That's 12. Right, so I can put my 4 over here. which is the shield, which I have to cover. And then I'm just going to put the rest of this on here to make 12. And hang on, because of my immunity, which I've just gained, I get to ignore 1 time and 1 poison. So I'm going to gain a damage, brings me up to 6 out of 8, and 1 time, but no extra poison. Yes. All right, let's burn this for some XP. I am now on 5 XP. I need 8 to level up. Okay, so we're going to spend 2 time. Right, let's go with door number 2. Okay, we've got a Shadow Stalker. Lots of XP. That will get us into the next level up. And this has got a good balance of dice, so this will be a good one to fight. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's Slenderman, that is. Let's destroy him. Right, I need my black heroic dice because I'm level 2. I have 4 pink agility dice, 3 pink fighting dice, and 3 blue magic dice. Feeling full dice goblin right now. Oh, that's a better roll. Got some 6s in there. However, because of the Slenderman, Xenomorph, Shadow Stalker's passive ability, any 6 that I roll have to spend time. So let's spend 3 time. It's okay. I think we've still got enough time to level up and then hopefully also gain 1 extra item before we go and meet the big boss. So I have to cover the 4 blue first on here. And I have to cover the blues on here as well. Now I've covered all the shields, I can start putting dice elsewhere. So I've got a 6 pink for this bit. I've got a yellow 4. I've got a 6. And then I've got 3s. I know that I avoid 1 poison and 1 time damage. So I've got 10 blue over here. I need some more dice. I haven't got enough. Right, okay, so let's use some of my, because I'm doing a combat encounter, I can use some of my combat skills. So I can bin one of my rubbish pink ones and instead increase a yellow and a blue by 2, or I could roll a yellow, which I think is what I will do. Oh, for a 1, yay! And gain a pink 4. Fabulous. That's actually terrible. Okay, so another thing I can do is I can exchange 2 coloured dice for a black hero dice, which can be used for anything, but it has to be the same value as the lowest dice you exchanged. So that gives me 10, and I can put that here, the 10 blue. It avoids me getting some extra poison. There's not anything else I can do. This is going to be pretty awful. Apart from, okay, if I use my whirlwind ability to bin a pink dice and increase one of my yellows by 2. So let's just cover up this spot here. Save me some poison. Okay. So the consequences I'm left with are a heart and a poison, a heart and a poison, and a time and a poison. This is really bad. So because of my immunity skill, I get to ignore 1 time and 1 poison. So let's just cover this up so I don't class it. I'm going to take 2 damage. Oh no. I think I've died. I've taken 2 damage, and then I'm going to take 2 poison, which is going to add 4 extra time because of the rotten depths. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no. Oh no. I think I'm dead. I think that might be it, guys. Oh dear. So what would then happen So we've died. We have 8 damage. There's no bringing it back. Once you made your way through the 3rd level, you would then be onto the big bad. Once you're fighting the big bad, there's no more chance to have improvements, to collect skills, to gather items. You just have to fight the big bad with what you've got. And the big bad is on the back of your dungeon card. So the mud golem is the big bad that you fight here. And you can see it's set out a little bit differently than the cards we were playing with. There are also some really big numbers on here. And the reason for that is you do damage to the golem over several turns. It's not like with an encounter on the dungeon floors where you have to fight that encounter there and then. You do damage over turns and hopefully survive long enough to kill him. If you, like usual, if you cover up the things with the hearts, you're going to take less damage yourself. But if you cover up the skulls, you are going to do damage. So in theory, you could do 9 damage in 1 turn. So you have to try and wear its damage down before you end up dead. And at the start of each round, you exile 4 dice. So you have to take 4 dice from the pool and bin them from the game. Which, remember, if you then wanted to roll 4 agility dice and there was only 3 left in the pool, you're only going to be rolling 3 dice. So that was then what you would fight after you have finished the levels. Let's go with 2 things I liked and 2 things I didn't. I really like the way that you improve your character. You add your items on, you add your skills on. I like the way that your skills complement each other. You can get a little bit of a mini engine going, but it's more in my head like a puzzle game where you're trying to think of the best way to use your dice, the best way to use your skills and your potions to achieve your goal of success. I also like the way that every card is really efficient. So you've got a 1-player side, a 2-player side. You have got your basic potion where you've got 4 options on 1 card. And all in all, it means that the game fit into this really small, compact box, which is great for your shelf, great for the planet, and also great for your pocket, because the less components a company needs to make, the less money they're going to charge you for your board game. 2 things I didn't like. I am yet to win this game. Might just be my skill. I feel like you run out of time. And it's very difficult to generate new potion tokens. So I think if there was maybe another way to generate potion tokens, it would give you a bit more gameplay flexibility, especially as you get onto level 3. And I'm trying to think, I guess the only other thing, because I really like it, I think it's really sleek. The artwork's beautiful. The gameplay is really interesting. I've played it 1-player and 2-player and enjoyed it both times, even though I've lost. And if you lose a game and you enjoy it, it speaks volumes. I guess maybe this particular component could just be a little bit more interesting. The attack tokens are these lovely hearts that look far too much like a Haribo heart to be safe around children. But these poison tokens, I don't know, they could be something else. Hi! Sorry, Casper's chatting. Hello, sweet boy. Should I cuddle? Hello. So that's probably a little thing that I'd also change. But it's such a good game. Like, I'm really impressed by it. So, yeah. Hi, Casper. Do you like the dungeon? Were you impressed? Don't think you really care, do you? That is going to be me done, I would say. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming along today. It's been lovely having you here. I've really enjoyed showing you all One Deck Dungeon. I hope that for some of you that it's shown you a new game you might like to buy. For others who might already have it on their shelves, it's given you some inspiration to crack it out and give it a go. And I wish you all a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye, guys.